the shit hot. Oh, I'ma light the shit up. Yeah, I'ma make the shit hot. Oh, I'ma light the shit up.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to part 4 of What If Deku Got Stronger When Injured. We're not going to drag it out too much, just comment down below what else you want to see, join the Discord, check out my thumbnail artist. He's 2 subs away from 300 subs. Let's get into that last push. And other than that guys, join Discord, comment down below, like the video, and hope you enjoy. After Deku got sent flying through the ceiling and coming back down, he was confused, and everyone just accepted at this point he got so strong he could fly. But a week goes past, and Aizawa announces that there will be a UA Sports Festival, and Deku gets excited. And of course they go through the normal thing, they do a bit of training, and now due to the metamorphosis, Deku's body can use up to 70% of one for all. But yes, he does a lot of training with Denki, Kirishima and Bakugo, to the point where they all get at least 3 times stronger. Denki even works on a special move where he surrounds his fist in electricity and punches with them, and then for a final ultimate move, he molds his electricity to be like a dragon and it shoots out at like its insane speeds, as well as electricity whips. Kirishima finds out that he can harden his body to a point it slips off and he can shoot it like a missile. Bakugo figures out that he can create a constant explosion and mold it into a weapon, where whatever it hits gets a few seconds and then it explodes. Deku works more on his flying combinations, and that's all really. The UA Sports Festival finally comes about, and Deku gets told what it is. I forgot what the day before the Sports Festival comes about, Monoma struts into Class 1A. So this is Class 1A. A bunch of pussies. Just you wait, when us Class 1Bs come first place and get moved into Class 1A, you shall be crying in the corner. Hearing this, Bakugo jumps up and gets in Monoma's face, saying, "What you say, you blonde-headed brat?" Monoma says, "You calling me blonde, but look at yourself, you Pomeranian." Bakugo grabs Monoma by the collar and chucks him into the hallway, catching Monoma off guard, and he says, "How dare you, do you not know who I am?" Bakugo gives him a death stare as his explosion starts popping from his hand, and he says to Monoma, "Last chance, fuck off or get fucked up." Monoma stands up and he taps the girl that can make her hands bigger. His hands expand and he throws a punch towards Bakugo, sending him flying backwards, and he rushes in about to slam Bakugo on the ground, just for Kirishima to appear out of nowhere, block his hit effortlessly, hardening, and he says, "Yet again I recommend you fuck off." Monoma copies this and hardens his own body, just for Denki to shoot lightning across the class and sending him flying. Monoma managed to block this, but he's getting confused. "How dare they all come at me?" Deku stands up as he was trying to sleep and he got woken up, and he says, "You strutted into our classroom, attacked one of our mates and thought you weren't going to get jumped. We ain't outside on the hero field, this is social life, mate. You think you're going to attack someone and their mates ain't going to jump in? Now it's either you get out or we're all going to jump you and stamp you out." Monoma laughs and says, "You think I'm really on my own?" Tetsu, the metal guy, the vine girl, I forgot her name, I'll look it up in a minute, and the one who can make their body bits all step in. And as such, Bakugo, Denki and Kirishima stand next to them. All their classes are telling them to calm down, but Deku's laughing. He activates 1-4 at 10% to get electricity flowing. He does this to throw Monoma off guard, to make him think that, he's a quirk is electricity. Monoma slaps him and attempts to use his quirk. He can't get every time you get hurt you get stronger, by the way, because he can only copy one quirk at a time, and Deku's 1-for-all is the one that he takes. Monoma activates it and he throws a punch. We all know what happens. Monoma has nothing stockpiling his quirk, and the punch does nothing to Deku. He laughs, and he thinks, damn it. He taps to go with Vine, and Vine shoots out of his arm, flying towards him. Todoroki descends a wall of fire, a wall of ice. He says, get out of my class. Deku looks at Todoroki and says, don't get involved. And he clicks his neck. He says to everyone behind him, Bakugo, Kirishima, Denki, don't get involved, mine. And they all laugh and go back to their seats. One of them think, you're a bit cocky, ain't you? He gets roundhoused by Deku, sending him flying out of the classroom. The one with big hands throws a slap, and Deku throws a slap back, overpowering her as well. Tetsu turns on the stool and he rushes at Deku. Deku eats the punch. He actually cracked one of his rib, but Deku shows no pain. And he actually gets stronger. He grabs Tetsu by his face and picks him up and slams him into the ground. And as he's on top of him, Tetsu's blocking, but Deku's throwing a punch. One punch didn't really do much. He amps up to 20% and he throws another one. This time, his arms start cracking. And he picks him up again and gets booted out of the window. Tetsu survives this easily, of course, he's metal. And he stands in front of Monoma and says, see you at the exam. Because if you get in my way, I'll end your career. And he just walks off laughing. Monoma runs away, pissing himself. And the UA Sports Festival begins the next day. He gets announced that it is a race. And Deku gets excited. He activates 20% of one for all, full cow. And he begins running as it starts. He looks to his left and right. He's lowered his speed a lot so he can see what his classmates can do, still keeping a steady lead. All his class accepted the fact that Deku was coming first, but they appreciated him not embarrassing them. Deku saw the robots and just with a wave of a fist blew one away, then a wave of it next, and then again, then again, then again, then again. And I forgot how strong I made Deku. Let's just say Tetsu, he was using 2% of one for all. Sorry, I forgot how strong I made him when he was fighting against class 1B. But now he's using roughly about 20%. And he's easily just blown all these robots away. The entire audience recognises him as the next All Might. And they all think the same thing. He lives up to that title by now. He looks just as strong as All Might, if not stronger. Some of the pro heroes are mumbling, saying, damn it, there goes to our rankings. And yeah, I thought I got a chance to move up. But we can't get a higher spot. We might as well become associated with the next number one. Now at this point already, all the heroes have made the mind. They're going to apply it. They're going to want Deku at their apprenticeship. But Endeavor watching this is just pissed. He has a vein bulging. How dare she take the spotlight from Shoto? Sorry guys, I'm actually really ill. Oh. But Deku speeds up a bit and he yells to his class he'll see them later. That's when he's caught off guard. Denki appears next to him and he smiles at Denki saying, you're using your electricity for your speed. About time you figured it out. Denki, who's sweating, says, yeah, but this draining my stamina. Deku looks him up and down and says, how about instead of let electricity flow outside of you, compact it inside you? Denki thinks about this and does exactly as he's told. All of a sudden, the massive strain in his stamina disappears and he speeds up, even flying past Deku. That's when it happens. Kirishima comes out of nowhere riding a robot. He's dug his hardening hands into it and he's controlling it, making it go insanely fast. And Bakugo's just flying over with explosions. Deku laughs and says, better than I thought. He speeds up ahead of Denki, who still technically was in the lead. Denki seeing this is just out of breath, saying, how did you catch up? I thought I was faster than you at that point. And Deku smiles at him saying, I'm using about 4% of my power. Seeing this, Denki goes as white as a ghost and says, God damn it. They get to the point where they need to jump over the massive gaps, and he says to all of them, I'll see you at the end. He jumps over it in one leap. The crowd goes wild, and he carries on running. He sees all the landmines, and he decides he ain't going to get in the way of them. He jumps over them all again, landing at the finish. Deku then begins to fly. The audience goes crazy. What? He can fly? What is his quirk? And he flies over to watch the rest. He's impressed. Denki has made insane progress, as he's sprinting along that large wire with perfect balance. But Kirishima has just made the robot jump. and Bakugo's flew over it. They're now both neck and neck. As Denki's run out of stamina mostly, and he had to slow down. And he says, "Damn it, Denki, you're trying to compete with me for no reason." But then he sees it. His eyes can barely, he doesn't know what he sees, but he sees the energy in the surroundings get absorbed into Denki, and he says, "Damn, I think he might be the next number 2 hero." If you're wondering, yes, I do like Denki quite a bit as a character. I like his quirk, and I think he gets too much hate, so I am going to make him pretty strong. And as they get to the final leap with the landmines, it happens. Denki, all the energy in the surrounding is absorbed into Denki, and it's almost like he entered Godspeed, which the killer will do. And in a flash, he appears at the end. Bakugo and Kirishima, who are watching this, were just in utter shock. And Bakugo's well, I was trying to be nice, but I lost my number 2 spot because of it. And he amps up his explosions to their max, and he flies towards the end as well. Kirishima digs his fist into the robots, and it explodes. He flies towards the end as well. Then it's Todoroki next, so that it was Deku first place. Sorry if you guys had that. Sorry if you guys had that. Game was my sister, but Deku in first, Denki in second, Bakugo in third, Kirishima in fourth, Todoroki in fifth. We then go on to the next event with Deku with his 10 million points. We all already know the teams. Denki, Kirishima, Bakugo, and Deku are the teams. Deku was of course on top, and it begins. As people were circling towards them, Denki with even better control now would mix an electric circle around them. If anyone goes into it, they'll get shot. Kirishima hardens, and he creates some projectiles. He scrapes off his hardening, and he makes like a sort of headband which covers up the original headband, which is quite impressive. Then Bakugo's sending them flying about using his explosions. And Deku laughs, he wants to try something. He grabs them all, and he begins to fly. They start flying around while Bakugo speeding them up with their explosion. Everyone watching this is just absolutely shocked. We can't even, they're flying. Deku's headband's getting covered by hardening, and we can't even enter their radius without getting shocked. That's not fair. Seeing this, Todoroki just scoffs at everyone, saying it's not fair, and he sends a massive ice spike towards them. Deku makes them fall down to the ground and stop him flying, and he pulls out his fist and he punches the ice spike flying towards them, sending a shockwave. Todoroki gets pissed, saying, "Damn it, he's stronger than I thought he'd be." Todoroki waves his fist about, and massive ice spikes fly towards Deku. Deku just slapping him away easily without any effort at all. And at one point, Kaminari or Denki increases the electric volt around them to the point where Deku doesn't even need to slap him. The electricity fries the ice. Ida comes in running with the squad: Tokiyami, Yuraka, Ida, and the support girl. And he attempts a kick, but the electricity fries him and he falls down. They get disqualified. This continues to happen where the only squads left are Todoroki. This continues to happen with everyone until enough people get disqualified where they can move on. And of course the teams are the same as last time, it's set without... I'm just going to keep going. We now get to the final fights. First off, it's Shino versus Deku. Deku has no clue what Shino's quirk is, and he asks Deku a question. Deku answers it and he gets put in mind control. Deku's walking, but he keeps on stopping and starting. He's fighting against Shino's mind control of his own will, and he gets halfway to the end where he finally sees it. The mysterious shadow figures make him activate one for 100% in his fingers, breaking his fingers of course, but sending a massive shockwave. And I mean massive, like 100 million times stronger than before. Of course that's an exaggeration, but the shockwave that happened caused Shino to get blown out of the arena, and Cement Man having to activate his walls to protect the audience. Everyone seeing this goes crazy. What amazing power from this young man. And then next we get Bakugo versus Kirishima. It begins. Bakugo's flying about with his explosions, and he jumps in the air and dives down. Kirishima activates his hardening, getting hit by the brunt of Bakugo's massive explosions. Bakugo, seeing that this technique isn't going to work, he then dives towards Kirishima with an explosion speeding up. He creates a katana of explosions and he ducks it away and slices. The concentration of this heat is enough to break Kirishima's hardening, creating a massive explosion at the same time. Kirishima feels his side and he feels a bit of blood. He thinks, damn it, I have to get harder, stronger, unbreakable. Kirishima enters his red right unbreakable mode. He's never showed this to anyone, and Bakugo, not realising what it is, dives down. He slashes Kirishima with the blade. Nothing happens. He gets hit hard in the stomach, sending him flying backwards. Kirishima can keep up his unbreakable mode for like a minute straight. And he rushes towards Bakugo. No matter what, he wasn't getting phased by any of Bakugo's hits. It was Bakugo getting slapped around like a little bitch. Until 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7, 6, and it gets to the last 3 seconds as Kirishima was pushing Bakugo to the end. Just before he got to the start line, Kirishima's hardening wore off, and Bakugo took that as his chance. He amped up an explosion and he launched it. Kirishima, who was barely conscious at this point, got sent flying out of the arena. Deku, seeing this, begins giggling. Next it was Deku versus Todoroki. This fight goes a lot different. All them little ice shots that Todoroki was flying at Deku, Deku was slapping him away with ease without even activating one for all. And he begins flying. He flies directly towards and in between all the ice spikes. And I'm not gonna lie, this fight ain't gonna do nothing like it did in canon. And he yells at Todoroki, why are you being such a fanny? Let me guess, it's because your father was a monk. It's your quirk, not his, mate. What are you doing? You're just so childish. You want to make a point to your father, so you're going to make yourself seem weak. Ain't that just being a little pussy? And the Todoroki gets pissed and flames appear. And he goes, so it's my quirk, then I'll kill you with it. He sends a massive flame at Deku, but Deku just dodges out of the way. And he begins flying down towards him. And he throws a massive punch, knocking Todoroki out. That was it. Next was Denki versus Bakugo. And this fight went crazy. Denki activated Godspeed straight away and was blitzing around. But Bakugo used his explosions on defense. When he was about to get hit, instead of launching an explosion to attack, he created one that Denki would hit that instead. This was a great matchup. This fight was going to be epic. Bakugo created a constant explosion on his fist, not a blade. He created it sort of like a jet, and all of a sudden he disappeared at insane speeds. Only Deku could really keep up with this. Denki and Bakugo were moving at insane speeds. Well, yes, Denki's reaction time was enhanced by his quirk, Bakugo wasn't. So in reality, Bakugo was moving around like a speeding bullet without really any control of what he was doing. But luckily enough, that worked for him. At one point, he was going to spin out of control, so he ended up started spinning like a missile, and he spun back around and hit Denki hard in the stomach. But Denki had been waiting for this. He releases all the electricity that he had stored up onto the Bakugo who just hit him, and Bakugo got fried. This was enough to knock him out, but Denki was barely standing on his own. Yes, Bakugo got knocked unconscious by this amazing electricity outburst, but Denki had used up most of his energy and he fell unconscious as well, but he won. Well, now I'll move on to the final fight, bun the other ones. Well, actually, before the final fight, it was Deku versus Monoma. And this fight went pretty weird. It begun. Monoma ran at Deku and attempted to slap him and steal his work, but we all know this doesn't work. Monoma realised he was the worst matchup for Deku ever. And he begins to panic. Deku starts laughing and chasing him around the arena, slapping him like a bitch, backhand, front hand, kneeing him in the face, slamming him. Monoma tries to give up, but Deku starts punching him before he could. 1 punch, 2 punch, 3 punch, 4. How many times are you gonna get slapped up doors? Until eventually Monoma was left disfigured and he gave up. I just needed to get that in. We now go to Denku being recovered by Recovery Girl and other people who restore stamina just for plot. And the fight begins. Deku rushes at Denki, who's in his own God mode form. They're both moving at the same speed. I'm saying right now, when Denki's in his God mode form, oh my god, sorry, that drink went down the wrong hole. When Denki's in his God mode form, he's faster than All Might, so this fight is going crazy. They're both moving at insane speeds, but Deku is clearly landing more hits. While each hit he lands, he's getting shocked by Denki. But it isn't really affecting him. Just making him stronger. And each punch, Denki's feeling his ribs break, his bones break. And he pulls his arm up towards the sky and he slices downwards. This sends a massive electrical blade at Deku. He barely moves out of the way. He loses his finger and he starts shaking it, screaming. He's like, Denki, you bastard, I'm gonna kill you. Denki starts laughing, knowing that Deku can heal from this. And of course he does. But while Denki's laughing, Deku appears in front of him and nails his chin. Denki loses consciousness for a few seconds, but thankfully, electricity jolts him awake. He gets sent flying back upwards, just to get punched again. Deku realised the weakness in Denki's moves. Yes, while in God mode he cannot be knocked out when he can, but he'd be shocked awake. He was in a stage where he was vulnerable. And after getting him knocked out like 10 times, Deku just slapped him out of the arena, saying, it was a good fight, Denki, but you need to work. Yes, you have the speed, but you don't have the technique. If you're wondering why I've rushed through this, because I want the proper fights to be coming soon, don't worry. I want you to know what powers they're going to have, and how you can think about how they're going to adapt this with their power and their own quirks. Other than that, guys, I hope you do enjoy it, and peace out, guys. Bye.